Okay, now we're going to go over some density practice problems. So we know that density equals mass divided by volume. Okay, mass we measure it in units grams, right? And volume you're going to mostly see milliliters, or you also might see centimeters cubed. Okay, so you can create a density triangle for this the same way we did in the speed unit. So if we're trying to create a triangle to help us solve these three variable problems, you can do something like this. Density goes here, mass, and volume. Okay. All right, so whenever we're trying to find mass, it's pretty easy. They're usually just given to us. Okay. Volume, sometimes you have to do a little bit of math. So my volume, let's say I have a 3D object here, right? I have something that looks like this, goes out like this, and connected. I have this 3D object. It has a certain length, it has a width, and it has a height. Okay, let's say my height is 2, so my height is 2, my width is, let's go, my width is, we'll just say 3, my length is 5. Okay, so if I'm trying to find the volume for this object, volume is equal to length times width times height. In other words, I just have to multiply all these variables. So I go, length is 5 times my width, which is 3, times 2. So that would give me 15 times 2 would be 30. Okay, let's say all of these were centimeters, right? So 2 centimeters, 3 centimeters, 5 centimeters. My units for this would be centimeters times centimeters times centimeters. My units would be centimeters cubed. Okay. You might also see a scenario in which you're given a cube. So say you have a perfect cube, right? So in other words, all the sides are the same. So if I know that one side is the same, if I know that one side is 2, and that's the only information that's given to you, well, if it's a cube, all the sides are the same. So this would be 2, this would be 2, and this would be 2. Everything would be 2. So my volume would be 2 times 2 times 2. Okay? Which would be 4 times 2, it would be 8 centimeters cubed. Okay? That's one way you might have to find volume. The other way, which is called the water displacement method, is let's say we have a cylinder, a graduated cylinder that holds water. So here it's reading a certain amount of water. So let's say it's the volume here is 10 milliliters of water, right? Put an object in here, an object that has a odd shape. I put an object here that has an odd shape. I put it in, when I put it in the cylinder goes a little higher. When I put it in the cylinder, we end up with something that looks like this. The cylinder, the water in the cylinder goes up. It goes up to, let's say, 17 milliliters when the object is placed inside. So now we end up with something that looks like this, right? The object is inside. So why did the water go up? Well, the water went up because this piece of mass made it go up. So how much did it go up? Well, it was at 10, now it's at 7, so it went up 7. So the volume of this must be 7 milliliters. So my volume is 7 milliliters. That's how you might also find volume. In other words, what I did is I took the final. So I took the final, take away the initial, and it gave me 7 milliliters, which is what I got, right? So just the final, take away the initial, will give you. So you'll have some problems that look like this, where things are put into water and the volume goes up, and you have to calculate that. Okay, that's the main thing. So let's go over some practice problems, and we'll work through units and stuff. Okay. First problem. A block of aluminum occupies a volume of 15 milliliters and weighs 40.5 grams. What is the density? That's pretty easy. We know density equals mass divided by volume, right? We can double check. Density equals mass divided by volume. Okay, so in other words, my density equals my mass, which is 40.5 grams, divided by this volume, which is 15 milliliters. I do the math. I go, use calculator, 40.5 divided by 15 will give me 2.7. So my density is 2.7 grams per milliliters. Those are my units. Okay. All right. Next problem. Next problem is it's asking us, what is the mass of ethanol that exactly fills 200 milliliters? The density of ethanol alcohol is 0.789. Okay. So we're looking for the mass. So remember, mass equals, we block that, density times volume. So mass equals density times volume. I'm just going to list everything we know here. So you can do this if you're kind of a little lost. My density is 0.789. My mass is, that's what I'm looking for. My volume is 200. Okay, so I know mass equals density times volume. So my mass is going to equal 0.789 times my volume, which is 200. Okay, I left the units out right now because you can just put them at the end. So let's go. This is 0.789 times 200 gives us 157.8. I'm just going to round to a whole number. So my mass is 158. 158 what? Well, mass is measured in grams, right? So that will be my mass. Okay. So this one's a little bit trickier because we have to find the density. So a rectangular block of metal weighs 100 or 1,896 grams. The dimensions of the blocks are 8.4, 5.5, and 4.6. What is the density? So looking for density, we know the mass is 1,896 grams. We don't know the volume though, but this gives us enough information, right? We have the sides. We can just multiply all that and get a answer. So centimeters, I'll leave out the units for now. 5.5 times 4.6. So we multiply all that and it'll give us the volume. So 8.4 times 5.5 times 4.6 gives us 212.5. Let's round 213. What are my units? Centimeters times centimeters times centimeters. Centimeters cubed. Okay? So my density equals my mass, 1,896 grams, divided by my volume. Okay? So that gives me, if I put that in my calculator, 6 divided by 213, gives me about density equals 8.9 grams per centimeters cubed. Grams per centimeters cubed. Okay, and this last problem I won't solve it all the way, but I'll get you guys started on it. So a metal has a density of 17.5 and a volume of 20, right? It's asking us for what is the volume of that metal? Well, volume equals mass divided, we block it, mass divided by density. So volume equals mass divided by density. I know my mass is 200. And my density is 17.5. I divide those and that would give me my answer. Okay, what would be my units though? Because it's volume, right? Well, if we look here, it's grams per milliliter and this is grams. So if we divide these, they would cancel, grams would cancel out and we'll be left with this. And also milliliters is the only unit that has to do with volume. So my units for whatever my answer is would be milliliters. Okay, if this was centimeters cubed, then this would be centimeters.